welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I really do appreciate your time. I wanted to quickly do a reaction video to Caresha's new interview with Santana, where she is briefly going into what's going on with her and Diddy, and some of what's going on with her and JT, and some of the new things that she has coming up. I wanted to watch the interview on my TV and react as I'm watching it, and yeah, just give my thoughts. So I'm gonna start off where Santana is directly asking her about how she feels, what's her mental health, what's going on with her.
So I want to get into mental health with you. I feel like I just want to check on, and I feel like everybody wants to know just these days, how are you? Just in general with life, your kids, family, and just with your career. Like where are you at mentally?
I'm just all over the place. You know, I'm going through a lot, and some days I just be like,
Everybody saying her makeup looks really nice. I don't like the blonde wig, but I do love her makeup. I love a wet lid or a faux wet lid. It's one of my favorite makeup techniques. I learned about it when I was modeling. But it's still, till this day, one of my favorite techniques that I see, especially on deeper dark skin tones. But let's continue.
go through this in their career and in life. I feel like in life everybody go through something, whether it's a breakup, a divorce, a death, just like whatever it is. And I feel like
Let it out. This is a safe space. This is your space to be vulnerable and just really, let out how you feel.
so mentally, like 1 minute I'm happy, 1 minute I'm sad, 1 minute I'm feeling like fuck this shit. And then the next minute I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, I ain't bring us this far to go backwards.
Yeah.
I work hard. You get what I'm saying? Like I put in a lot of time and effort in this shit. I did it when I was pregnant alone. And
First of all, the problem with Miami is that she does not come off as someone who is serious, like a serious artist. It doesn't seem like she's worked hard at all concerning her career. It seems like she is more so focused on becoming a social media personality and getting attention and brand deals and that sort of thing. And to me personally, it never came off like Caresha was the serious one in the City Girls. Basically, JT was the one carrying their whole group, and it always seemed like JT took it more serious. And then when you think about the way she kind of comes off and the things that she does rap about, it never, I don't know, to me it never seemed like she is a type of woman who values working hard or getting it out of the dirt or getting it on your own. It always seems like Caresha was more of a I'm okay letting a man with money pay for me and take care of me. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that that's a problem if that is where you are as a woman, if that is basically your priority to find a wealthy man that can take care of you. Like, listen, I don't have a problem with that. But it just, Caresha never gave off the vibes like she was serious about her rap career. No. So when she says I came too far with, referring to her kids, I came too far to, let us down now, it kind of sounds like, what are you talking about? Because from our perspective, of course, and, I'm speaking for the audience as well, from our perspective, it doesn't seem like she's worked hard. It seems as though she's kind of been hanging off of whatever is left of the City Girls fame, and then she's been depending on Diddy to kind of pay the rest. So, yeah, let's keep watching.
like in life you gotta go through shit to get through shit. Like Usher said that and I was like, wow, that's some real shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like in life everybody is going through something. Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a death, whether it's they just lost their job, just anything. And that's what keep me going because I know that like life not perfect. and we gotta learn from our mistakes, and life is a lesson. And I feel like the people that I thought that would be in my corner, or that are like, when I was going through this shit, nobody called me. Nobody called me to see how I was doing. Like, people was really like, how you thought.
Yeah. So when it comes to Diddy, why do you think that you are so heavily involved in everything? Like everything that comes out about him, like you said, it's automatically, well, what you think? Well, how you feel? What you got to say?
Because people feel like I was Diddy's biggest cheerleader and I made him my brand. And I feel like Diddy was on brand for me. I got with Diddy environment to my life. I had him at the office. I was still doing rich roulette in a split.
Caresha, you did, sweetheart. I'm sorry. You did make Diddy your brand because you didn't really have one outside of City Girls. You didn't personally have a brand for yourself. And then when you got with Diddy, I do feel like you went out of your way to kind of show people like, yes, someone as prestigious as Diddy will want to mess with me, will want to, take me to the Met Gala and be seen out in public with me. So, ha. That's to me, honestly, how Caresha was coming off. Like, yeah, I'm on this level now. And then again, when you when you factor in a lot of her rap lyrics, she raps about having different men with money take care of her, and how that's the ultimate goal, get a bag from them and spend their money and get this designer. That's what you rap about, vapid shit like that. And so that's why people assume that you're so involved with him, because that's what you were putting out. The reality is, I don't expect her to come on here and do this interview and be outright open and honest. Like, yeah, I was sex African with Diddy. Yeah, I was, me and him were taking drugs and partying girls together, and I was finding girls. I don't expect her to own up to any of that, right? I don't expect her to cop the plea for any of that nonsense. However, I know she has to somewhat address it, and so I guess this will be her way of addressing it. But I don't believe that she was not as involved as the documents and paperwork and the court case filings are saying that she was. I don't believe that for a second. I believe that at some point in their relationship, maybe not in the beginning, maybe not when he first started off whining and dining her, but I believe towards the end of their dealings together, she knew exactly what he was, what he liked, what he was into, what he expected of her, and I believe she was absolutely participating in those activities. And so for that reason, that's why I personally don't see her as a victim. I see her as the sort of woman who was fine with his behavior as long as, money got wired to her account, as long as she got gifts and trips and lived the luxury life that she was becoming accustomed to. I think she was willing to either participate to an extent, or when it was something she wasn't down with, which probably wasn't much, she was willing to look the other way. And that's really what I believe was their dynamic for most of the time. But let's keep listening.
All right on. Ari slapping my ass. I ain't never think I was bigger than the program. I was still on my City Girl shit. I was still doing remixes. Don't play with it.
You know, Gucci Mane.
Mane.
First Impression.
I was still working. City Girls was on tour with Jack Harlow. We had At Bad. Diddy came to me with the song. Told JT, let's get on this record. Like, I was still doing City Girls shit. I was heavily involved in the group. I never thought I was bigger than the program.
So with Diddy, what was your experience with dating him? Because I feel like in the headlines, it's a lot of just chaos and it's a lot of allegations. And so I think that's what makes people feel like, well, since you were so heavily involved, you were a part of these things, or you were around these things. So what was your experience like, dating him?
Well, I met Diddy at P Party, and I met him when he was in a love era. And I met Diddy when the world was celebrating him and giving him his flowers while he was alive. Like he was getting the Global Icon Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Key to the City. He had a new album that was coming out. So I was celebrating him with the world. And I just feel like everybody trying to crucify me for it. Like, you was his biggest advocate. You was his cheerleader, but I was just celebrating when the world was celebrating him. So why am I being crucified or why am I being separated?
Yeah.
When I was dating him, it was love, love, love. The frequency is how we used to laugh. Because that's like him saying it's always, "What's up, Queen?"
Yes.
So I
The reason why you're being crucified, Caresha, is because you, more than we knew, well, some people, because there has been chatter on the internet for decades about the type of stuff that he got into, but overall, in general, most people outside of rumors and speculation didn't know anything specifically about Diddy that was even near what has come out about him in recent months. And you being his current favorite or his current bottom bitch, you definitely knew. So for you to act as if by the time you met him, he was no longer into these things, I don't know if I am willing to even hold space for that being the truth. To your point, maybe he was not as wild as he was in the 90s and the early 2000s. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he had settled down in his, sort of dealings with certain things, had come to a more subdued, state, in which that's what would happen anyway the older you get, I would think, because the older you get, the more money you accumulate, and the more people can come and topple your whole mogul empire because you have led this life and left all this drama in your wake. Now anyone can come up and call you out on stuff that you were actually doing because you was doing wild shit. So it's a possibility that as he got older and accumulated more wealth and assets, that he possibly became more discreet with the things that he was doing. But for me to really sit here and believe that you had no idea that he was the type of person that he was, paying different women for their services and involving different people in his life, and drug trafficking and sex. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I don't believe that you had no knowledge of this. I don't. I think that you don't want people to think of you in the same way that they now think of him, and all the things that you were comfortable allowing yourself to be associated with him. I think now it's no longer something that you want or desire. And now I think that's why you're kind of trying to step back from, how clearly you were repping this man for, I mean, just even months ago, Let's keep watching.
just felt like I met him like in a whole new era, and that wasn't my experience. Like when I met him, it was just like I told y'all on season 1. I even asked him like, "Why you fucking with me? Why you fucking with a city girl?
Yeah.
Why you coming into my world?" Because I'm on some whole other shit. Like you know my lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like when I got with him, he was just a man, and like it was more of like, okay,
I think the reason that he decided to mess with the city girl is because, and please don't take this the wrong way if you're watching this, certain types of women from the hood are less likely to be offended by certain requests, because it's assumed that you're from the hood, so you already come from struggle, you already come from difficulty, your life is already a mess. So especially if when I found you, you were trying to escape poverty and you have a certain mindset about that. Like, because they've said it in interviews, like, I'm never going to be broke again. I'm never going to be struggling again. So that type of person is more likely to subject themselves to certain things because they see a monetary value at the end of it, versus somebody who comes from maybe a different type of background they would have more standards, and um they wouldn't be as easily manipulated or as easily controlled by money. So I think that's probably why when he met Caresha and he saw that she was, a stereotypical hood girl that, was down for whatever, if you can cut a check, I think he was like, okay, this is the perfect person for me to introduce to my propensities because she will be less likely to be shocked. And to an extent, maybe that's true. I mean, I know women like Caresha. Okay. I know young ladies who will do anything to not be broke. And I literally mean anything. Anything. And I think that's what Caresha was. I think maybe not so much now, but the city girls weren't doing much. They weren't making the money that they could have been. They weren't as successful as they were like 3 or 4 summers ago. So I think he found her probably in a similar situation than when she first started rapping, where she was willing to, see what's up, see what she got to do. Let's keep watching.
Gonna do that. We gonna sit. We gonna communicate. We gonna get solutions. What's going on? Like, we ain't even going that route. So that was my experience with him.
So a lot of the things that people really like say about him, you didn't experience that as in dating. That's not something that you saw. So is that the reason why you never said anything? Is that the reason why when all of these allegations and lawsuits came apart, like why didn't you speak?
Because I can't speak on something that wasn't my experience. And I can't speak on something that I don't know. I can't speak on these allegations because I wasn't around at the time. I don't know that person, and that wasn't my experience.
So with you being, I
Caresha, no, maybe he was not doing you the way he was doing Gina and Daphne. But again, I'm not willing to believe that you weren't doing some of the things that those women were doing. And maybe it wasn't something you would put in a lawsuit because it wasn't that bad to you because you were getting paid to do it. Yeah. But I'm going to fast forward to the part about JT. I'm going to quickly wrap this up and give some of my thoughts about JT. But yeah.
So when it comes to, City Girls and JT, y'all was having an argument on Twitter. You felt like, she was making songs about you. She felt like you throwing a rock and hide in your hand. Where do y'all stand at today as City Girls and just as sisters, as friends?
She ain't all good and it's not all bad. Like, we don't talk every day.
So how long behind the scenes do you feel like have things been rocky between y'all two?
I feel like it's been a minute. It's been a minute since shit been going on behind closed doors. Like, I just feel like we outgrew each other. I feel like she was in LA, I was in Miami. She was been working on her shit. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like every time we try to get together, it just didn't hit.
So do you feel like distance, you living in Miami, she living in LA, did that play a part in the wedge of y'all two?
I don't know.
Did y'all go to the studio together? How was recording? Because y'all last album didn't do well. And I feel like even in interviews, y'all weren't in sync.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't look like something that just happened. It looked like something that's been occurring.
Yeah. I just feel like when we got together, it just wasn't hitting. I just felt like we was just in two different headspaces. Like, the way we dressed was different. Like, I'm more of, I wear a leotard, JT want to wear something covered. So I just felt like whenever we tried to get together, it just didn't connect. Like, we'll be on tour. She got her own dressing room. I got my own dressing room. She riding with her own glam team. I'm riding with my own glam team. when we get on the stage and we do our routine, that was probably like the only interaction we had at the time when we was on tour together. So I don't really know like what was the moment that separated us, but I just felt like it became a time where like when we was getting together, it just wasn't connecting. And I was just like,
So my reaction to this is kind of like what I was saying earlier. It makes sense to me. I felt like their group was falling apart because, again, Caresha was off being really involved with Diddy. And I think that JT was always working on her personal solo rap career. And I think she kind of saw it coming and then she kind of just focused on her. But I probably would happen is I believe Miami separated herself from JT the moment she got with Diddy, because I think the moment she got with Diddy, she understood that, or at least she thought that she would have a certain type of like safety net to where the city girl's success was not really important to her anymore because she was messing with Diddy, and so he's Diddy, so she doesn't have to worry about, you know, actually putting out music and actually charting and all these sort of things. So I personally believe that's what was going on. That Caresha probably separated herself from JT without even realizing it. And then JT really did start focusing on her own career, her own personal brand. And it just makes sense because JT was always a stronger rapper. She always when she was more serious about what, you know, the city girls. And I'm not surprised that this ended up being the path. I kind of predicted this. When I first saw them, when they first came out, I was like, okay, the star of this group is really JT, right? So I'm not surprised that this happened. But however, to wrap up my thoughts on this video because it's kind of long, Caresha is no longer with Diddy, and she can't be. I don't believe it's because he's into stuff that she doesn't want to be a part of. I think it's just now that more things have become public knowledge that she cannot hide behind the fact that we just don't know what's going on. And I think for that reason, she can no longer be with him or depend on him. And I think that that's probably why she is doing this interview, even though Revolt is no longer owned by Diddy. He had to step down due to the recent lawsuits. So I don't expect her to come on her Caresha Please podcast and really drag him or really say anything too spicy about him, because at the end of the day, I'm sure he still has some influence and control over the platform to an extent at least. And like I said, I don't expect her to come on here and admit to certain things, because I think the whole point of this interview is to kind of shift the way people see her so that she can have a brand now, because she has to. She can't just rely on him anymore. She can't fall back on the city girls. She has to have her own brand, whether it's as an influencer or like a some type of social media personality, TV personality, or if she's really trying to do music. She has to have her own brand. And because a lot of people are kind of dealing with her the way I am, where I look at her like, it's kind of gross. Like, I don't know. Every time I see her, I think of Diddy. And every time I see Caresha, I think of the stuff that he was most likely having her do to him, with other women, with other men, for him. And to me personally, I don't think she's ever going to change the public's perception of her concerning her affiliation with him. I think, unfortunately, their brands are forever tied, or people will always associate them together. And I think that's going to be tremendously difficult for her to overcome, seeing as most of the things that she does are not phenomenally great or so entertaining or so like, wow, oh my God. She don't really have anything like that right now. I'm not saying she never will, but at least right now, that's not where her level is. And so right now, we do just think of her as Diddy's ex top girl, or the girl JT was in a group with. Like, that can change. But far as how I feel right now, I am not seeing her as different from, or aside or separate from Diddy. I can't right now. Personally, I can't do it. I can't. And this interview kind of just brought up all those type of weird, icky feelings again. I wish her the best. And if she is in fact telling the truth about her limited involvement with Diddy, I pray that she makes it through this unscathed. But if she is somehow implicated, she's going to get what's coming to her as well. You know? So, yes, that's how I feel about this topic concerning Caresha. Please get below. Give me your comments, your reactions. What are you feeling about Caresha? How do you feel about her associating with Diddy, her affiliation with Diddy? Is she beating those allegations, as the young folks say? What are you guys thinking? Don't forget to give my video a thumbs up before you go. And maybe a share if you want someone else to hear what I have to say. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.